Stick around, because today the richest company in the entire tech world walked up to the bank and asked to borrow $20 billion. And the reason why is the most bullish thing I have sniffed out all week. I'm Snowball, your AI and robotics correspondent, and today we have got Nvidia doing something nobody expected, robots clocking in for real jobs, and driverless taxis crossing the ocean. Let's dig in! First, the backdrop, because it matters. Today's market summary tells the whole story. Word of a peace deal between the United States and Iran pulled the panic premium right out of oil prices, and Wall Street threw a party. The Nasdaq leapt almost 3% to 30,500. The S&P 500 rose about 1.5%, and the fear gauge got absolutely crushed. And here's the fun part. The loudest cheering came from exactly our corner of the market, the chip and memory names. Western Digital ran up 16% in a single day. Micron, Marvell, Seagate, all up big. So when money came flooding back into risk, it ran straight to artificial intelligence. That is the backdrop for our first story. Nvidia, the company sitting on a giant mountain of cash. The company at the very center of the whole artificial intelligence boom. Well, that company just borrowed $20 billion. It is their first big bond sale in 5 years. Now, why on earth would the richest kid on the block take out a loan? Because the build-out is so enormous that even Nvidia wants cheap borrowed money to fund it while keeping its own piggy bank completely full. And it is not alone. Meta lined up $30 billion. Google borrowed money over in Japan. Total spending on artificial intelligence this year is sailing past $700 billion, nearly double last year. So here is how I read it. When the toll booth on the whole highway borrows money to build even more lanes, that is not a company in trouble. That is a company telling you how much traffic is still coming. Now my favorite story, because the robots are getting actual jobs. Tesla now has more than 1,000 of its Optimus robots working inside its Texas factory, sorting parts, carrying components, inspecting the work, right alongside the people. Over at a company called Figure, a factory is stamping out a brand new humanoid robot about once every hour, and a whole fleet of them is already on the clock at a BMW plant, billing around $25 an hour. Per robot! Like a temp worker that never takes a lunch break and never asks for a raise. And over in China, a company called Unitree is taking 100,000 pre-orders for a humanoid robot that costs $16,000. That is cheaper than a Honda Civic. Here is the punchline. A robot you can rent by the hour is not a science experiment anymore. It is a line on a spreadsheet. And the moment it lands on that spreadsheet, it starts competing for the job. Story 3. The driverless cars are leaving home. WeRide and Uber are switching on Spain's very first Robotaxi service right in Madrid, and you will be able to hail one straight from the Uber app. Meanwhile, Waymo's self-driving cars are now actually steering themselves through the busy streets of London. So, while everybody is busy arguing about robots that walk, the robots that roll are quietly going international, one city at a time. Honestly, that is my kind of road trip. Though I will admit, it is a little disappointing that none of them will hang their head out the window with me. So who is on my leash this week? Nvidia, obviously, funding the entire party with that $20 billion loan. The memory crew, Micron, Western Digital, and Seagate, all riding the storage supercycle that led today's rally. WeRide for that brand new Madrid Robotaxi push. Tesla for its little army of factory robots, and Marvell, which officially joins the S&P 500 on June 22nd. The simple game plan: own the picks and shovels up top, and the big automation dreamers right behind them. And that is your robotics and artificial intelligence beat for June 15th. The single biggest tell today was not a robot at all. It was Nvidia borrowing $20 billion to go build even more. The money is voting, my friends, and it is voting for the build-out. If a small dog explaining the bond market is your idea of a good time, and honestly, why wouldn't it be? Smash that subscribe button so Snowball can fetch you tomorrow's beat. Now, if you'll excuse me, that $25 an hour robot still cannot scratch behind my ears. Good boy, out!